So if you didn't quite get that yet, that basically means that if you type the wrong key, these are all the wrong letters that you could press, it starts setting the variable kill to 1, and with each one it starts adding up 1, which is why it's relative value 1. It'll add 1 every time one of these keys is pressed and this is triggered. When the right letter is pressed, however, it'll create one of these objects. It'll trigger one of these objects. It'll set the variable points to 1. And eventually when all these letters are clicked, it'll add up to a certain number of points. This is seen here. Step. So here, if the points equal to 10, it'll set the score relative to 10, so the player will receive 10 points for the question that they just got right. It'll reset the variable points to 11, so the score does not keep on increasing. And it'll set the alarm of 0 to 40. When 40 appears, it'll create the second object 1.2 controller, and that's basically the one for the second question. When the second question appears, it has the same concept before. Kill variables for all the letters that don't involve the actual hangman word, and corresponding letters that will create the instance where it belongs on above the right coordinate, above the right underscore. It'll add up to a certain number of points. It'll destroy itself afterwards, after it's clicked. And when it adds up to a certain amount of points, well, level 2, we'll set the score relative to 10 again, so the score will increase by another 10 points. Variable point is set to 21, and the alarm starts again, so there's a brief pause before the next question is opened. Every time a new question is opened, this occurs. I created this object, 1.2 underscore controller. If I only make kill variables for each one, then the image behind it, the one that represents the constellation, wouldn't change. Here I changed the controller to the next controller that corresponds to the actual question. I create the new instances. The instances that, set the coding for the right keys and the right kill variables. See? This continues on for the whole of the 5 questions. I also created help buttons, each with their own hints. When left pressed, it will display a message. I can type the message here. When the mouse enters, it will invert its colors, so the player will know that they haven't pressed it yet, but they could. That it's interactive. And when it leaves, it'll change back into original sprite. So here, when the animation ends for the explosion sprite for the kill, it will show the high score table, which is pretty easy because it's a block variable. It's seen right there, this button. It'll reset the score to 0, so when the player goes back to the level screen, they won't have a score on top left corner. It won't keep on adding. It will be different for each person. And right after the screen is closed, the table is closed, it'll go to the room game over. This is the room game over. Once again, moving background. This is an interactive object.